नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतस्य सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 12, Dhruv Maharaj goes back to Godhead. Text number 1 onwards. Maitreya Vacha Dhruvam Nivrittam Pratibuddhya Vaishasadapetamanyam Bhagwan Dhaneshwaraha Tatragatascharanayakshkinnaraha Sanstuya Mano Nyavadat Kritanjalim. The great sage Maitreya said, "My dear Vidura, Dhruv Maharaj's anger subsided and he completely ceased killing yakshas. When Kuvera, the most blessed master of the treasury, learned this news, he appeared before Dhruva. While being worshipped by yakshas, kinnars and charans, he spoke to Dhruv Maharaj, who stood before him with folded hands. So Dhruv Maharaj stopped fighting, listening to his grandfather, Swayambhuva Manu, and then Kuberji appeared, because Kuberji, yakshas are followers of Kubera. So he appeared, he was very happy with Dhruv Maharaj, and Dhruv Maharaj just stood before him with folded hands. And Kubera was being worshipped by yakshas, kinnars and charans because he had appeared himself over there. Text 2. Dhanad Uvacha. See his name, they gave us Dhanad, the one who gives money, opulence. Bho bho kshatriya dayada paritushto asmi te anagha yatvam pitamahe deshad vairam dustyajam atyajaha. The master of the treasury, Kuvera, said, "O sinless son of a kshatriya, I am very glad to know that under the instruction of your grandfather, you have given up your enmity, although it is very difficult to avoid. I am very pleased with you." So as soon as somebody gives up the enmity, everybody gets pleased, not just the person who is enemy of. Na bhavan vadhi de yakshana yaksha bhratrim tava kal eva hi bhutanam prabhur apya bhavyo. Actually, you have not killed the yakshas, nor have they killed your brother. For the ultimate cause of generation and annihilation is the eternal time feature of the Supreme Lord. When the master of the treasury addressed him as sinless, Anag means sinless, Dhruv Maharaj, considering himself responsible for killing so many yakshas, might have thought himself otherwise. Kuvera, however, assured him that factually he had not killed any of the yakshas. Therefore, he was not at all sinful. He did his duty as a king, as it is ordered by the laws of nature. Nor should you think that your brother was killed by the yakshas, said Kuvera. He died or was killed in due course of time by the laws of nature. Eternal time, one of the features of the Lord, is ultimately responsible for annihilation and generation. You are not responsible for such actions. So Kuvera, because he was very pleased with Dhruv Maharaj, that Dhruv Maharaj stopped fighting, he stopped killing yakshas unnecessarily. And now Dhruv Maharaj is feeling that he was responsible for so many deaths. Just like, if we recall, Yudhishthira Maharaj was feeling so low that he was thinking he was responsible for the death of so many people who died in the battle of Mahabharata. And he was personally comforted by Bhishma Deva. So this is a sign of a person who's highly advanced spiritually. They don't want to commit any sinful activity. And Kubera himself is saying, you are anag, you are sinless, Dhruva. But they feel compassionate. They feel, and this is the humility that they think they are responsible. Of course, as a king, it was his duty to punish the sinners. But Sambhuva Manu explained to him, and then he felt, yes, it was right. That I unnecessarily killed so many yakshas. Yudhishthira Maharaj was feeling bad when so many people got killed because just to put him on the throne. He was saying Duryodhana was such a great king. He was administering, he was a great administrator and he was running the kingdom properly. Why I had to sit on the throne? This is a sign of a devotee, of a Vaishnava. Arjun, he said, why should I kill my grandfather, my teacher, my cousins and my nephews and so many people here just to get a kingdom? And he gives so many reasons to Krishna for not fighting. So it's not like that these although they are Kshatriyas, but they are Vaishnavas first. And they don't want to get involved in all this killing business. This is a really great qualities of these Vaishnavas. They're not there to enjoy the kingdom. They are the real kings actually, because they are there to serve the kingdom and the people of the kingdom, not to enjoy the kingdom. Later on in this canto only, we'll read about Prithu Maharaj. In fact, I don't know if you know or not, when Modi ji got elected first time, he was asked or he was told, I don't remember that part, the detail, that how are you going to rule the country? And he mentioned that just like Prithu Maharaj did. You can go back into the archives and see wherever he said that. He cited Prithu Maharaj. But Prithu Maharaj is considered an ideal king. Of course, Lord Ram is also ideal king. Dhruv Maharaj is ideal. Yudhishthira Maharaj is ideal. Ambarish Maharaj, so many Rajarishis are there. But he himself, Modi ji himself cited Prithu Maharaj. He was an ideal king, mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So these kings, they were not there to exploit the population. They're not there to enjoy the term, whether they're there for, Dhruv Maharaj will be there for 36,000 years. But just like the Lord, when he appeared before Dhruv Maharaj, he said, oh, you will perform many great sacrifices and you will give lots of charity. So this is what he's going to do. It means he's not there to enjoy, okay, today we're going to camp out in this garden and in this forest and I need so many women to be with me. And no, that was not his mood. He is a self-realized soul. Way above this bodily concept of life. That's why Prabhupada also said, only a Vaishnava, proper, real Vaishnava can be the right king, can be the real king or the leader of a country. So one of the great qualities of a leader is he's always introspecting if he's doing anything wrong. And here Dhruv Maharaj is feeling he did something wrong. And Kubera had to tell him, no, you didn't do anything wrong. Everything is happening by the sanction of the Supreme Lord. And you just did your duty, that's all. Aham tvam iti apartha dhira jnanat purushasya hi swapni va bhatyatadhya anadhyaya bandha viparyayo. misidentification of oneself and others and I and you on the basis of the bodily concept of life is a product of ignorance. This bodily concept is a cause of repeated birth and death, and it makes us go on continuously in material existence. The conception of I and you, aham, tvam, as separate from each other, is due to our forgetfulness of our eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Person, Krishna, is a central point, and all of us are his parts and parcels, just as hands and legs are parts and parcels of the whole body. When we actually come to this understanding of being eternally related to the Supreme Lord, this distinction, which is based on the bodily concept of life, cannot exist. The same example can be cited here with the hand is hand and the leg is leg. But when both of them engage in the service of the whole body, there is no distinction as hands and legs, for all of them belong to the whole body, and all the parts working together constitute the whole body. Similarly, when the living entities are in Krishna consciousness, there is no such distinction as I and you, because everyone is engaged in the service of the Lord. Since the Lord is absolute, the services are also absolute, even though the hand is working one way and the leg is working in another way. Since the purpose is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they're all one. It's a nice example Prabhupada is giving. In this worldly concept of life, we a whole day we work with this consciousness. This is mine and this is yours, and this is for my pleasure and this is yours and this and that. It's all based on ignorance. But one who goes beyond that, then he's really evolved. And Prabhupada gives the example of hand and leg. Of course, they both are different organs in the body, but the real purpose is to serve the body, to provide whatever the duties hand has to do and whatever the duty leg has to do. So if they do their duties properly, they are just different organs of the same body, and they are working for the upkeep of the body. If the hands work properly, then not only hands are nourished, but the legs are also nourished. And if the legs work properly, the hands are also nourished. And the whole body is, of course, taken care of. So that way, if hand says, no, I'm not going to pick up something to eat because legs will get the nourishment. Well, if the legs don't take you to that food, how are you going to even have the capability of picking something to eat? So this is what interdependence is. We all are dependent on each other, and in that mood, if we serve the Supreme Lord, that's the right position. Just like Prabhupada is saying, in the spiritual world, everybody is serving the Supreme Lord, because there's no such thing as lower and higher service. Different services, and everything is on the absolute platform. Everything is on the spiritual platform. But that doesn't mean everything is one. Leg is not hand, hand is not leg. They both are different, they both are separate. This is not to be confused with the statement by the Mayavadi philosopher that everything is one. Real knowledge is that hand is hand, leg is leg, body is body, and yet altogether they are one. They are one in the sense that they have the same purpose of serving the body. As soon as a living entity thinks that he is independent, his conditional material existence begins. The conception of independent existence is therefore like a dream. One has to be in Krishna consciousness, his original position. Then he can be freed from material bondage. So that is the right position, understanding that we all belong to the Supreme Lord. All of us. Not just Hindus, not only Muslims, not only Indians, not Chinese, everybody. And not just human beings, everybody belongs to the Supreme Lord. He is only one. We call him differently. We call him Krishna, some people call him Ram, some call him Allah, some call him God or Jehovah or whatever. But he is only one person. We have made the distinctions here, and we fight based on those distinctions or differences. And then the differences could be between religions and within religion, and within that religion there could be so many denominations, and there could be differences, and we could be still fighting over those differences. That is our ignorance. Somehow this I and mine, I and you, is so prominent. It's prominent in the animals, definitely, because their consciousness is not that developed. And if we also act in that way, then where's our consciousness? So consciousness should be that everybody belongs to the same Lord. Everybody should think this way. And we are here on this earth because of our past sinful karma, sinful activities. And so we are here to get rectified, to learn our lesson, to purify ourselves. Just like Dhruv Maharaj goes back to Godhead, we are also here, finally, to go back home, back to Godhead. And that cannot happen, that will not happen till we keep on making this distinction, I, me, and mine. We keep on living on this platform of I, me, and mine. Tadgach dhruvam bhadram te bhagvantam adhokshajam sarvabhutatma bhavena sarvabhutatma vigraham. My dear Dhruva, come forward. May the Lord always grace you with good fortune. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond our sensory perception, is the super soul of all living entities. And thus all entities are one, without distinction. Begin therefore to render service unto the transcendental form of the Lord, who is the ultimate shelter of all living entities. Here the word Vigraham, having specific form, is very significant, for it indicates that the absolute truth is ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is explained in the Brahma Samhita, Satchidananda Vigraha. He has form, but his form is different from any kind of material form. The living entities are the marginal energy of the Supreme Form. As such, they're non-different from the Supreme Form, but at the same time, they're not equal to the Supreme Form either. So this is Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva. Dhruv Maharaj is advised herewith to render service unto the Supreme Form. That will include service to other individual forms. See? So render service unto the Supreme Form, and that includes the service to the other individual forms also. For example, a tree has a form, and when water is poured on the root of the tree, the other forms, the leaves, the twigs, the flowers, fruits, are automatically watered. The Mayavad conception that because the absolute truth is everything, he must be formless is rejected here. Rather, it is confirmed that the absolute truth has form, and yet he is all-pervading. Nothing is independent of him. So, when the water is poured on the root of the tree, the other forms are automatically watered. So means when we serve the Supreme Lord, from this example, it might give us understanding that we don't need to serve the others. Only Krishna, and that's it. No individual forms, none of his other energies, But the point is, we should look upon everything as connected with the Supreme Lord, and then we should serve. We should serve everybody. Or don't think, we should not think like there are sayings like Nar Seva is Narayan Seva, but that is not right. Nar is Nar, Narayan is Narayan, and we have to serve both of them. And not just Nar and Narayan, what about his different other energies? The Prakriti, the material nature is also his energy. The other living entities who are not in the human form, they are also his energy. So we should have the tendency to serve everyone. भजस्व भजनीयांग्रिम भवाय भवच्छिदम युक्तम विरहितम शक्त्या गुणमयात्म मायया. Engage yourself fully, therefore, in the devotional service of the Lord. For only He can deliver us from this entanglement of material existence. Although the Lord is attached to His material potency, He is aloof from her activities. Everything in this material world is happening by the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In continuation of the previous verse, it is specifically mentioned here that Dhruv Maharaj should engage himself in devotional service. Devotional service cannot be rendered to the impersonal Brahman feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whenever the word bhajasva appears, meaning engage yourself in devotional service, there must be the servant, service, and the served. So whenever the word bhajasva comes from bhaj dhatu. Dhatu means a root. And bhajasva, bhajan, bhakti, they all come from the same root. So bhakti means to serve. Serve with love and devotion. So bhaj or bhakti is not used for demigods. For them the word used is puja, not bhakti. So bhakti is only reserved for Krishna or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like Ram also, other incarnations. So bhakti, bhajan, bhajasva, they're all used for the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord, or Supreme Personality of Godhead is served. The mode of activities to please Him is called service, and one who renders such service is called the servant. Another significant feature in this verse is that only the Lord and no one else is to be served. That is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. There is no need to serve the demigods, who are just like the hands and legs of the Supreme Lord. When the Supreme Lord is served, the hands and legs of the Supreme Lord are automatically served. There is no need of separate service. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham Aham Samuddharta Mrityu Sansara Sagrat. This means that the Lord, in order to show specific favor to the devotees, directs the devotee from within in such a way that ultimately he is delivered from the entanglement of material existence. No one but the Supreme Lord can help the living entity be delivered from the entanglement of the material world. The material energy is a manifestation of one of the Supreme Lord's varieties of potencies. This material energy is one of the Lord's potencies, as much as heat and light are potencies of fire. The material energy is not different from the Supreme Godhead, but at the same time, he has nothing to do with the material energy. The living entity who is of the material energy is entrapped by the material energy on the basis of his desire to lord it over the material world. The Lord is aloof, separate from this. But when the same living entity engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord, then he becomes attached to this service. This situation is called yuktam. So Lord knows how any or every living entity can get out of the entanglement of this material world. And this is what he wants also. It's not that he wants us to rot here or suffer here. But because of our little independence, it is not enough here. So he guides us, he directs us from within how to serve him, how to do this bhajan properly, so that we can get out of here. The Lord is aloof from this. So Lord, it's all his energy. The material energy is his energy, but he is separate from it. But when the same living entity who's serving Maya, he engages in bhakti, then he becomes attached to his service. This situation is called yuktam. For devotees, the Lord is present even in the material energy, because they don't see anything but the Lord, the material energy also. Um, this is what said in Bhagavad Gita: one who sees me everywhere, I'm never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. This is the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Material energy acts in the three modes of material qualities, which produces the action and reaction of material existence. Those who are not devotees become involved in such activities, whereas devotees who are dovetailed with the Supreme Personality of Godhead are freed from such action and reaction of the material energy. The Lord is therefore described herewith as Bhavachiddam, one who can give deliverance from the entanglement of material existence. So he can give deliverance, but he doesn't give deliverance. He shows us the way by which we can get qualified for the deliverance. This is his mercy. Just like Dhruv Maharaj, Narad Muni could have taken him to the Supreme Lord. Narad Muni is very powerful, but he showed him the way. Do this tapasya this way, and then the Supreme Lord will reveal himself to you. So same thing, Lord also can take us back just like that, but not till we rectified ourselves, not till we have learned our lessons and purified ourselves. He's not going to take us back. So this is our purification, or our sadhana. Vedic bhakti is what is going to purify us, purify our consciousness, purify our mentality, purify our actions, thoughts, everything. Vrinihi kamam nrip yanmanogatam mattastvam ottan padeya vashankitaha varam varaho ambuj nabhapadyor anantaram tvam vayamanga shushrum. My dear Dhruv Maharaj, son of Maharaj Uttanpad, we have heard that you are constantly engaged in transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known for his lotus navel. You are therefore worthy to take all benedictions from us. Please therefore ask, without hesitation, whatever benediction you want from me. So Kubera is so pleased with Dhruv Maharaj. And he says, we heard that you are constantly engaged in transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of God. And therefore, we are very pleased from you. And you're worthy to take all benedictions from us. Means a devotee of the Supreme Lord automatically pleases all the demigods. See, Kubera himself is here. And he says, I'm very pleased, I'm ready to give all benedictions, whatever you want. So isn't that a good proposition? I mean, just imagine we are chanting and all of a sudden Kubera comes in front of us. Of course, we haven't killed any yakshas. We don't have that kind of capacity either. But the demigods are very pleased with the devotees and they stand before, okay, what do you want? You're worthy to take all benedictions from me. And just imagine, what would we ask him? Because Krishna knows we won't ask for the proper thing, that's why these demigods don't come in front of us. Otherwise, they're ready to come. Krishna knows we'll get distracted, and he doesn't want us to stop performing devotional service properly. So he doesn't let all these demigods come in front. But Dhruv Maharaj, self-realized soul, so he was very much qualified. Dhruv Maharaj, the son of King Uttanpad, was already known throughout the universe as a great devotee of the Lord, constantly thinking of his lotus feet. So this is his qualification. He was known throughout the universe. We are not constantly thinking of lotus feet of the Lord, and we are not even known in our neighborhood. Maybe the next door neighbor won't know us as a devotee of the Lord. And sometimes we ourselves are shy to tell people that I'm a devotee. So look at Dhruv Maharaj. He is known throughout the universe. Such a pure, uncontaminated devotee of the Lord is worthy to have all the benedictions that can be offered by the demigods. He does not have to worship the demigods separately for such benedictions. So he is worthy to have all the benedictions from demigods also. So people worship demigods. They do this vrata, then that dan, this tapa, this yatra, or that thing, that karmakanda, this karmakanda, to satisfy, to please the demigods. And then they ask for benedictions. But here, Dhruv Maharaj, being pure, uncontaminated devotee, is worthy to have the benedictions. Kuvera is the treasurer of the demigods and is personally offering whatever benediction Dhruv Maharaj would like to have from him. Srila Bilmangal Thakur stated, therefore, that for persons who are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, all material benedictions wait like maidservants. Mukti Devi is just waiting at the door of the devotee to offer liberation, or more than that, at any time. To be a devotee is therefore an exalted position, simply by rendering transcendental loving service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can have all the benedictions of the world without separate endeavor. See, such a wonderful process, bhakti, that Prabhupada has given us. One can have all the benedictions of the world without separate endeavor. Lord Kuvera said to Dhruv Maharaj that he had heard that Dhruva was always in samadhi, or thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord. In other words, he knew that for Dhruv Maharaj there was nothing desirable within the three material worlds. He knew that Dhruva would ask for nothing but to remember the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord constantly. So this is what Dhruv Maharaj is going to ask. He could have anything, any benediction. Of course, material benediction. From whom? From the treasurer of the demigods, Kubera, who has unlimited amount of wealth, much more than today's billionaires, trillionaires can even imagine. And he was ready to give anything or everything to Dhruv Maharaj. Maitreya Vacha, Saraj Rajena Varaya Chodito, Dhruvo Mahabhagavatu Mahamatihi, Harau Savavre Achalitam Smritim Yaya, Tarati Yatnena Duratyayam Tamaha. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, when thus asked to accept a benediction from Kuvera, the Yaksharaj, king of the Yakshas, Dhruv Maharaj, that most elevated pure devotee, who was an intelligent and thoughtful king, begged that he might have unflinching faith in and remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For thus a person can cross over the ocean of nescience very easily, although it's very difficult for others to cross. So people these days might say, Dhruva he was not mature enough. He should have asked, or he could have asked something tangible. What did he ask? Unflinching faith and remembrance of the Supreme Personality of God. That he was doing anyway. That's why Kubera was pleased with him. That's why Kubera said, you are known throughout the universe because you're constantly thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Dhruv Maharaj, he said, I just want this only, that's it. That I might constantly think, remember, with unflinching faith, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's all. So when a devotee has this kind of benediction, even the Supreme Lord becomes grateful to him. According to the opinion of expert followers of Vedic rites, there are different types of benedictions in terms of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. These four principles are known as Chaturvargas. Of all the Chaturvargas, the benediction of liberation is considered to be the highest in this material world. To be enabled to cross over material nescience is known as the highest Purushartha, or benediction for the human being. But Dhruv Maharaj wanted a benediction which surpasses even the highest Purushartha, liberation. He wanted the benediction that he might constantly remember the lotus feet of the Lord. He never said, oh, I've already achieved this constant remembrance. Let me add something else. No, this is also his humility and also his purification. Because if you remember, he went to the forest to do tapasya. To ask for what? To ask for a kingdom better than even his grandfather or great-grandfather. And now he is asking for benediction. Let me always remember the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's all. I don't want any kingdom. Even the kingdom that I have, you may take it away. Of course, he didn't say that. I'm saying that. He was not at all attached to anything now. This is the potency of bhakti. The real bhakti, when we make advancement, so much of advancement, everything else is negligible. Negligible or tuchha, it's called actually, tuchvat. Tuchvat, very insignificant, not just insignificant, something very abominable. I don't want it because it's so abominable. Any mukti, any bhakti, anything material, progress, anything related to that. It's the abomination. I don't want it. This is what Dhruv Maharaj wanted. When a devotee comes to the platform of Pancham Purushartha, simply engaging in devotional service to the Lord, the fourth Purushartha, liberation, becomes very insignificant in his eyes. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati has stated in this connection that for a devotee, liberation is a hellish condition of life. As for sense gratification, which is available in the heavenly planets, the devotee considers it to be a will-o'-the-wisp, having no value in life. That's a devotee's position. Yogis endeavor to control the senses, but for a devotee, controlling the senses is no difficulty at all. The senses are compared to serpents, but for a devotee, the serpent's poisonous teeth are broken. The Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati has analyzed all kinds of benedictions available in this world. And he has clearly declared that for a pure devotee, they are all of no significance. Dhruv Maharaj was also a Mahabhagavat, or a first-class pure devotee, and his intelligence was very great. So this is what it says, Mahamati, here in this verse. Unless one is very intelligent, one cannot take to devotional service or Krishna consciousness. Naturally, anyone who's a first-class devotee must be a first-class intelligent person and therefore not interested in any kind of benediction within this material world. Dhruv Maharaj was offered a benediction by the king of the kings, Kuvera, the treasurer of the demigods, whose only business is to supply immense riches to persons within this materialistic world, is described as a king of kings because unless one is blessed by Kubera, one cannot become a king. So unless one is blessed by Kubera, because to become a king or to be a king, one has to have lots of riches. And that cannot happen unless blessed by Kubera. And actually, if it's blessed by Krishna, Kubera has to bless him. But this is the position of Kubera. The king of kings personally offered Dhruv Maharaj any amount of riches, but he declined to accept them. He is described, therefore, as Mahamati, a very thoughtful or highly intellectual, because he declined anything that can entangle him to the material world. He only asked for something, he only wanted something that can liberate him or take him back to the supreme spiritual world. He can serve the Supreme Lord. So that's why he's called here Mahamati. Of course, the materialistic people, well, they'll say this guy is a fool, number one. What Mahamati? He doesn't have any mati, they will say. Kubera was there. He could have asked for unlimited riches. But this is not actually what's really important or valuable in life. So whatever we can get by our working honestly and serving Krishna honestly, whatever we get, it's not like devotees don't work hard materially, but they don't have too much of aspiration materially. That I should become a CEO of one company, or I should become CEO or board member of so many companies, and so many people should be working under me. This is not their aspiration. Their only aspiration is, let me constantly remember, let me constantly chant the holy names, let me constantly serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no matter what. I just want to serve. That's all. Text number 9. Tasya pritena manasa tam datvad vidastataha pashato antar dadhe sopi swapuram pratyapadyat. The son of Idavida, Lord Kuvera, was very pleased and happily he gave Dhruv Maharaj the benediction he wanted. Thereafter he disappeared from Dhruva's presence and Dhruv Maharaj returned to his capital city. Kuvera, who's known as the son of Idavida, who was very pleased with Dhruv Maharaj because he did not ask him for anything materially enjoyable. Kuvera is one of the demigods, so one may put forward this argument. Why did Dhruv Maharaj take a benediction from a demigod? See, this point, many times in ISKCON, devotees ask whether we should take benedictions from a demigod or whether we should even worship the demigods. The answer is that for a Vaishnava, there is no objection to taking a benediction from a demigod if it is favorable for advancing Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada stopped us from worshipping demigods. Although in Nectar of Devotion it is said, before doing anything one should worship Ganesha and ask him to remove the obstacles. But Prabhupada stopped us. Prabhupada thought or Prabhupada said that we might get distracted. That's why he stopped us. And when devotees pointed out that Prabhupada, you yourself wrote in Nectar of Devotion that one should worship Ganesha before undertaking any project. Then Prabhupada said, okay, if you want to worship Lord Ganesh, you can worship Lord Ganesh. But by worshipping Ganesh, you will get lots of money. Because he'll remove the obstacles. Actually, the devotees wanted to worship Ganesha to get, so that they are able to sell the books properly and get lots of money for the temple. So their aim was not anything else but to serve Krishna. So that way they were okay. Here Prabhupada will also say that. But Prabhupada's point was they can get distracted. So he said, if you want to worship Ganesh, fine. But the condition is you have to give me $100,000 every month. Because you will get lots of money by worshiping Ganesha. And then the devotee said, no, it's too much, Prabhupada. I cannot do that. So let's drop this idea. The gopis, for example, worshipped Katyayani, a demigoddess. But the only benediction they wanted from the goddess was to have Krishna as their husband. A Vaishnava is not interested in asking any benedictions from the demigods, nor is he interested in asking benedictions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead either. It is said in the Bhagavatam that liberation can be offered by the Supreme Person. But even if a pure devotee is offered liberation by the Supreme Lord, he refuses to accept it. He said, I don't even want liberation. Dhruva Maharaj did not ask Kuvera for transference to the spiritual world, which is called liberation. He simply asked that wherever he would remain, whether in the spiritual or material world, he would always remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Perfect benediction. Perfect blessing he asked for. A Vaishnava is always respectful to everyone. So when Kuvera offered him a benediction, he did not refuse it, but he wanted something which would be favorable to his advancement in Krishna consciousness. So very, very important lesson for us. So instead of worshipping demigods and asking for some material benedictions, it depends upon level of progress of somebody. It depends on our faith, how strong our faith is in Krishna, Krishna's holy name. So every person is different. So that way, whatever our level is, we can work accordingly, but understanding that best benediction to ask is to ask for service of Krishna. Krishna, Krishna's devotees. That's all I want. And then when we ask for this, Krishna can arrange everything. That's not a difficult task for Krishna. But our purpose, our heart, our consciousness, our mentality should be clean, should be pure, should be completely clean. So that can only happen when we are engaged properly in devotional service, properly in chanting of the holy names, properly in associating with devotees, properly in reading Prabhupada's books and trying to understand them. So we get purified, and if any time we are given a chance for asking for benedictions, we should be able to ask properly. So Dhruva Maharaj, completely purified by now, and he has pleased Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhuva Manu, who's also an incarnation of the Lord. He has pleased Kuvera. He has pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has pleased Narad Muni, also his spiritual master, because Narad Muni knew everything what was happening, how much progress Dhruva Maharaj has made. So he has pleased everybody by his devotional service. And that's why he became so dear to Kuvera, to demigods. And not only that, this whole story, all these 3-4 chapters that we studied, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would listen to this every day from Gadadhar Pandit. This one and the story of Prahlad Maharaj. See the amazing determination that Dhruva Maharaj had in his heart to please the Supreme Lord. So we should beg him to give us some determination, even a spark of that determination, So we can also make some progress. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I remember the session in my office where the it is about stress busting. I don't remember anything else, but he said like we are fool enough. We don't know what is best for us. So whenever asking something to any demigods, I'll say, "Give me the best for me," and leave all the things on him. Don't even ask anything. Just say what is best for me. Give that to me. And I feel that really worked for me. I got into Krishna after that only.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Any other question or comment? Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Hare
Jai Shri
Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Guruji.